Okay, this time we're going to talk about backing up to Azure blobs. Now, this is becoming more and more popular, so we decided to include it in this first release. And I want to show you how to set it up from ground zero, just in case you've never done this before and you have a company requirement. Not only does Minion Backup make it very easy, but I'm going to show you how to do it from scratch. So let's go ahead and start by looking at Azure. I've got Azure open right here. Let's see. There we go. I'll bring that into focus for you. And so this is the front Azure screen when you first log in. And this is our test account that we use here at Midnight DBA. Now, what you want to do is you want to come in here to storage, and you want to pick one of these storage accounts. Now, if you don't know how to set up a storage account, that's a little bit beyond the focus of this video, but there's plenty of stuff out there that'll teach you how to set up a storage account, especially on YouTube. You should be able to find something really well. So I'm going to use this Midnight DBA 2 here, and I'm going to click right there. Now, what we need in the server path table, let me show you this. Let me bounce back over here real quick. In this table right here, in the settings path table, is we need a backup drive and we need a backup path. So that's what we're doing right now, is we're going to get our drive and our path. So let me go back to Azure if I can find it. Here it is. So I'm here under the storage account Midnight DBA 2 right there. And what I need is to find the path to that storage. And all I got to do is click on dashboard, and you see this listing down here: blobs, tables, queues. And what you want is blobs. So I'm going to highlight this whole thing, and I'm going to copy it. And I'm going to come back into SQL. I'm going to paste it right there and backup drives. Now, the backup location type needs to be URL. There we go. And now I need a backup path. And the backup path is going to be the container inside of that storage account. Let's go back to the storage account now. There we go. So now I'm inside my storage account. Now I need to come here to containers. And I need to pick which container I'm going to use. And I'm going to use this one right here. So I'll go into that one. And you can see the files that are in here. So I'm going to highlight this guy right here. I'm going to copy it, and then I'm going to put it right there under backup path. Now, this is where it gets a little bit different. In a normal backup path, let me expand this so we can see the whole thing. In a normal backup drive, you have C:\\/ or you have a UNC path, you know, whack whack, server name whack, something or other, share, right? And then all of these guys have to end with a \. But in a blob backup, you have to end it with a /. It will fail if you leave it as a \. Now, the only other thing we need for Azure is to supply the Azure credential. We haven't created that credential yet, so let's go ahead and do that now. So right here, I need to close databases, and I need to come in here to security, if I can do that. And instead of logins, let's go to credentials. And you see we don't have any credentials set up. So I'm going to say new credential. Let me bring this down a little bit for you. There you go. Now the credential name can be any friendly name that you want to give it. In this case, I'm going to say bit backup Azure. And I'm going to preface it with cred so I know it's a credential. Now the identity and the password. This is where I need to get the identity and the password for the storage account itself. So let's go back into Azure. Here we are. And I need to go back to Midnight DBA 2. And I need to go back again. Here we are. So now that I'm here, I've got Midnight DBA 2 highlighted. Oops. Well, I can do it from here anyway. So I'm in Midnight DBA 2. I need to go down here to Manage Access Keys. And this is where you get the storage account name. I'm going to steal that with a Control-C. I'm going to come back in here. Whoops, I made my window go away. There we go. And that's going to be the identity right there. And now the password, let me go back into Azure and get the password, is going to be the primary or the secondary access key. Either one should work. Now instead of that, I'm going to minimize that. I'm going to paste that in there, and then I'll paste it in there to confirm. and then I'll hit go. So now I've got this credential called cred bit backup Azure. Yeah, let me try that again. Cred bit backup Azure. Now that is the name of the credential that needs to go into the Azure credential column. So let me come here. I'm going to Control C that. Let me take this. I'll Control V. I need to get rid of those square brackets. There we go. Now, as far as Minion Backup is concerned, you are now ready to take an Azure backup. So let's go ahead and review really quick everything that we've done. We went to Azure. Let me go back there. There we are. We went to Azure and we got our access keys. This is the storage account and the password that we used to create the credential in SQL. We also came here to the dashboard and we used the blob column to get our backup location, and then we came to containers to get the name of the container that we wanted to use in the other column here for the backup path, and we used forward slashes for each one of them, and we made sure that the backup location type was URL. Now right here you notice how all of the other stuff still stays the same. If you're not familiar with the path table, then go look at the other videos on path and you'll understand what all this stuff means. But you notice how we can still do this by backup type. The mirror type is still false, and we've got a named database here. So all of that stuff is still just like it was before. So now we should be able to create a backup to Azure. Let's go ahead and give that a shot. If I can find the window that I need. Here we are. Here we are. Instead of running directly to the backup SP, let's test with backup statement get. Now, if you remember from other videos, this is the statement that produces, or this is the SP that produces the statements. So it's a really good way to test your settings. So I'm going to come here. I'm going to grab this statement right here. Put that right there. And right there. Okay, now you'll instantly notice something funny about this, and that is that it created a mirror location. And look at this right here. It says .back. So this is a funny little thing that happens when you've got a misconfiguration sometimes. So what we're going to do, we'll take care of that in a minute. So right now, and I'll show you how to take care of that. Right now, I'm going to kill this mirror location. There we go. You notice I've got all my forward slashes. I've got my credentials set up. So I should be all set to take a backup. Let's run this manually just to test. This is how you should set things up initially, right? Here you go. So it appears to have passed. Let's go take a look at it. We've got our container right here. Let's go into our container. There we go. And you can see that we have a new one. What time is it? It is 12:54. And this is 12:54 right here. See, 12:54. So our new backup went just fine. Let's delete a couple of these guys just to keep it clean. There we go. I'm going to delete these other ones too. And one more. There we go. Okay, so we have a clean slate now. And we know our backup works because we just took it from this statement right here, right? Let's go ahead and run a backup from the master SP and see how it works. And we'll also take care of that mirroring issue that we had as well. So now, let's go into databases, and I have Minion Backup installed here. So let's go into the settings table, and let's edit those rows. And now what I'm looking for right here is mirror equals false. And that's for the Minion default. I could leave that there, and then I could create an override row for the bit database and tell it mirror equals false, right? I could do either one of those. But for right now, let's keep it simple. Let's turn off mirroring. So now you'll notice when I do this, let me take this one right here. Let me replace this. And you can see now I don't get the mirror location, right? And the reason why it went funky on me there in the line with the dot back was because we didn't have a mirror location assigned. So if you've got mirroring turned on and no mirroring location assigned, then you can get funky results. You can go see the mirroring backups video for details. Okay. Now that we've got that, let's go ahead and run this. Let's change this to user. And let's keep it full. And let's go ahead and back up everything and see what we get. So we should have something for everybody. Let's make sure that we've got all of these guys. Now remember, this guy has to equal true in order for it to kick in. So let's see. All of these guys are true. I've got backups here. I've got... Okay, good. We should be golden. So let's give this a shot and go. Now, it's going to take that a couple minutes, so I'm going to pause and I'll come back when we're done. Okay, we're back, and that wasn't too bad. Now, I've gone ahead and entered in the log calls here so that we can see the logs. But let's look at Azure first. I've refreshed this, and you can see our new backup has shown up. And let's go ahead and take a look at what that looks like in the log. And I've done something here so that you can see it. Notice here it says complete with warnings. Now this warning is very interesting because let's go ahead and copy that warning out of there. And let's see that we can't copy to or from the URL. We can't copy from the Azure location is basically what's going on here. See, it cannot find the drive. So it can't copy from the Azure location because it's a simple command line copy. So we would have to do something special to make that happen. We would have to use the Azure plugins to make that happen. So be aware that if you're doing Azure backups, that you can't copy from those locations. You also can't copy to those locations. And there's one other limitation as far as Minion backup goes, and let's look at backup files. So you can see our Azure location is here. And you can see the retention period is 24 hours. So the file should be deleted after 24 hours. And that's the other caveat, is that Minion backup, at least in this first version, can't manage files to Azure. So even though we have a retention period of 24 hours here, we can't really do anything about it right now. So this will never actually be deleted out of Azure. You have to go and do that yourself. As well, usually in the paths table, whenever you have a path, Minion backup will do its best to create that path for you, but we can't create folders under Azure yet. So right now, if you want specialized folders under there, then you're going to have to do that yourself as well. But other than those caveats, you can see that Azure backup works just fine, and I could back up every database, or even every database and every backup type, to a different Azure blob if I wanted to. I could send these guys to different locations. Now, there are some limitations from Azure when you go to take backups to blobs. Let me see if I can find some of this. There we go. So this is one of the demos that I wanted to show you, is if we have a backup going to disk, but we want to mirror it to Azure, you can't do that. It flat out won't let you. See, it says that all backup devices have to be of the same general class. So you have to obey the rules for backing up to Azure. There are some other rules as well. I think you can't specify a max transfer size, I think is another one. Minion backup will let you do anything you want. The reason why we did that was because I know for a fact that they're working on removing some of these limitations, and we didn't want to have to come out with a service pack for Minion backup just because they changed the rules, right? So what we decided to do was allow you to do anything that you want to do, and That way, as they open up those requirements on the Azure side, then Minion Backup will automatically handle them. So if you're trying to take backups to Azure and it's not working, then print out the statement and see what it's doing and get that going, and then see what configurations you need to change in Minion Backup to make it work. So anyway, that's how to set up Azure backups from start to finish. It's very easy.